Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sports Talk Live. I'm your host, as always, Brandon Buckman. Now, for all of you who wondering why I'm on the air on Saturday, well, I'm on the air on Saturday as we get prepared for NFL free agency, and NFL free agency will be upon us tomorrow, as all 32 NFL teams will be looking to find that great free agent to see who can be that one tool for their team. And as we all know, there have been many names that have come out about teams that have been trying to, you know, do away with some shopping. They have some shopping sprees going on, and the money that they will be guaranteed for other free agents in the making. So, as always, today is Saturday, March 13th, 2021. I am on the air for a special edition of NFL Free Agency News. Now, for all of you all who listened to the show on Wednesday, I had my good friends Yanni and Shelby. They'll be back on my show this Thursday as we talk about WWE Fastlane that will be debuting next Sunday, March 21st. So they will be on my show again this week on Thursday. I'll also be back with my good buddy Tristan on Thursday as well, as we'll discuss some more NFL free agency news. And also getting down to some sports news as well as I'll be covering some NBA action as well for today. But for now, let's get to some NFL free agency. And the first story that we have is Ron Rivera is headed into his second season at the helm of the Washington football team at a steady, sustainable pace. And he's not about to start sprinting for anyone. Ignore the fact Washington made the playoffs in 2020. Look, past his stout defense, littered with high draft picks along its front. Washington isn't going to expedite its extended plans just to find a way through some figurative title window. This region is in it for the long haul. I'll be a methodological build then for the football team, starting at the game's most important position. After being forced to turn to Alex Smith last season and watching him post a 5-1 record as a starter, Washington cut him loose, shifting his focus to the remaining signal callers on the roster, Kyle Allen and Taylor Heinicke, and Steven Montez, if we're being generous. The former followed Rivera to the nation's capital from Charlotte, while the latter earned his place in the hearts of Washington fans with his gusty late-season performances and relief of the injured Alex Smith. Neither screams franchise quarterback, but Rivera also doesn't seem to be too worried about his club's situation under center. So Rivera's team has free agency, which opens next week and next month's drafts to evaluate and potentially address the position. The draft's quarterback class includes a few passers with tantalizing potential beyond the presumed number one pick, Trevor Lawrence. But because Washington reached the postseason, it isn't exactly situated in a great spot. They're sitting at 19th to take a franchise quarterback. But there's always room to move up or move players around. The potential for off-season madness or relative silence, if Washington's research dictates it, is what makes this period interesting. It might also make all the difference for the football team. So, why am I talking about this? Why am I talking about how Washington let go Alex Smith? Well, let's look at the history of Alex Smith, shall we? We got Alex Smith, free agency, 2018. We let Kirk Cousins go, Mr. You like that? Yeah, we like that, Kirk. We like that. We haven't forgotten. But anyway, Alex Smith is a player who deserved to at least stay with us for another year or so. For God's sakes, the man had 18 knee surgeries, could have lost his life in the hospital, but he didn't. And his family, his kids, was his biggest supporters. And we factor in all that to say Alex Smith is a truly hero for the NFL quarterbacks that have had career-ending knee injuries like Joe Theismann, almost Tom Brady, almost Big Ben. But those two guys came back better than ever, and Alex Smith came back better than ever last year, even though nobody was expecting Alex Smith to even play a game this year, let alone he missed a playoff game against Tampa Bay, which Taylor Heinicke literally brought us back to the brink to spoil Tom Brady's great playoff runs as a quarterback. But that's in the past. We're looking to the future. We're looking to free agency, which begins tomorrow. Free agency frenzy, as the NFL media people like to call it. But I would say Alex Smith is a guy who no one had expected he would, be let go. I thought Alex Smith would retire, a Washington football team player, but it doesn't seem like that was in the cards. It wasn't in the cards for Alex Smith to stay with us this long. And his contract wasn't even up. See, this is what we have to know about sports. When your contract is not up and people say, okay, well, he didn't perform the way we wanted him to perform, or he didn't throw the ball the way we wanted him to throw the ball. He didn't have a game plan for him to stay or for the team with as long as he did. Another quick fact for you guys. Alex Smith never played a full season with us. Alex Smith played about 6-7 games in 18. Week 11 went down with an injury. Houston Texans, J.J. Watt landed right on his leg. Had to miss the rest of the regular season. And so Colt McCoy comes in. He breaks his leg. In the Monday night game against the Eagles, we draft Mark Sanchez, a player who I can't even stand today. And then we get a rookie by the name of Josh Johnson. Wins us one game against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And we lose our last 3 games. So quarterback history in Washington hasn't been the same since Joe Theismann and Doug Williams, and I could even throw Jason Campbell in there. They haven't been the same since those 3 quarterbacks suited up for the Washington Redskin organization. They would have watched the Redskin organization at that time. And guys, we have to look at this as more of a potential situation, because if you think about it, it's a situation where we can say, okay, well, no, Alex Smith, maybe he should have got released by Washington. We really don't know what Alex Smith leg was problems that he had even before the offseason even happened. So we can't really say Alex Smith deserved to be let go by Washington. We can't really say that. But now it comes the pressure on Ron Rivera, because now they have to go out and find possibly a rookie in the draft. Trey Lance, rumors have been floating around that Trey Lance might be the 19th pick when the time comes for Washington to step up to the plate and pick quarterback. But we don't know. Like I said, they got Kyle Allen, Taylor Heineke, and Steven Montez. Steven Montez, I don't even think he played a snap last year with us. Kyle Allen played 1-2 games. Guess what? The same thing happened to him. Broke his leg. The difference was he didn't have 18 knee surgeries like my good friend Alex Smith. Taylor Heineke came in. He was taking classes at, Penn State? And that Saturday got called up to play quarterback for Tampa Bay. He wasn't even ready. Only had 1 day of practice. And look at what happened. Almost brought us back to the brink of elimination and a win for us. Like I said, Steven Montez, I don't really know too much about him. But it is what it is. Alex Smith, I wish you the best, buddy, and your new team. Rumors have it that you might go to Jacksonville. Not sure, but best of luck to you, buddy, as well as you transition into your new endeavors. Best of luck. So my next point, next segment here on the show today is, and you guys all know him. He won a Super Bowl championship this year. He's the GOAT, Tom Brady. Tom Brady is getting a contract extension. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Friday that Tom Brady and Tampa Bay Buccaneers have agreed to terms on a 1-year contract extension that will take him through the 2022 season. So a 1-year contract, that means Tom Brady, this might be his last year playing. 2022, this might be his last year. Let's hope so, guys. Let's hope so. Sources informed of the situation, but Brady posted an image of him signing a contract confirming the deal, and the team followed shortly thereafter by announcing the extension. Brady, who turns 44 years old in August, has long discussed playing beyond age 45. The extension keeps him in Tampa through that eventuality. Bucs general manager Jason Licht had been discussing a potential Brady extension ever since Tampa waltzed off its home field with the Lombardi Trophy in early February. A new deal makes sense for both parties. TB12 has plenty left in the tank, has expressed zero desire to retire, and enjoy his first season under Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. So the Bucs finally stabilized the quarterback position and wanted to keep their team leader and free agent magnet in-house beyond the 2021 season. Extending Brady comes with the added benefit of lowering the quarterback's salary cap number this season. The signal caller was set to count for $28.375 million against salary cap in 2021. The extension will likely significantly reduce that hit. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero added that Brady didn't ask for a raise following the Super Bowl victory. The extension tacks on an additional year to his original 2-year, $50 million contract. The Bucs added void years to the back end of the deal to further reduce the quarterback's salary cap hit this season. Brady's new deal could go a long way in helping the Bucs retain free agents like high-priced pass rusher Shaquille Barrett and tight end Rob Gronkowski, or attract other veterans who want to chase a Super Bowl ring with the winningest quarterback of all time. So, guys, we talk about Tom Brady being the GOAT. He is the GOAT. He's won 7 rings to prove it. And he's trying to get 10 on both fingers, 5 and 5. Makes complete sense why he wants to do that. But at the same time, I don't want Tom Brady winning any more rings because this guy's he's already the best. He's the winningest. Case in point, the winningest quarterback of all time. And who can say that he isn't? I'm not going to say that he's the losingest quarterback of all time because we've all seen quarterbacks lose in Super Bowls before and they haven't been in a long time. But by him being the winningest quarterback of all time, then we got to know for sure that this guy is the right price for him to re-sign with Tampa Bay on a 1-year deal that he will sign through the 2022 season. And who knows, he might bring back his old good buddy, Rob Gronkowski. Gronkowski might sign another contract extension. Get your point? Rob Gronkowski is a free agent. Hint. Anyway, Shaquille Barrett, I think he might be a free agent, but Shaquille Barrett might be coming back. If they keep the pieces intact in Tampa Bay, what's stopping them from not chasing a Super Bowl again next year? I hope it doesn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. But you gotta be realistic about this. If Tampa Bay keeps all their pieces intact together in the team, they're gonna possibly win another ring, another Super Bowl, another title for years to come. And not including Bruce Arians, he'll probably be like a Bill Belichick type coach, which Bill Belichick is the winningest quarterback in NFL history, the winningest coach in NFL history. And right now, it's a tie. A lot of coaches have won Super Bowls. Mike Tomlin, Tony Dungy, Bruce Arians has won one. Joe Gibbs, a lot of coaches have won one. I can't name them all, but a couple of coaches have won one. And Herm Edwards, can't forget about that guy. He coached the Chiefs and the Jets years ago. So a lot of winningest coaches, but Bill Belichick is one, and I think I forgot the coach from Dallas. Used to coach Dallas and the Dolphins and the Giants. Bill Parcells, he's won. He's the winningest coach of all time. So you got a lot of winningest coaches that have surpassed and have coached before Bill Belichick, and Bill Belichick is still on the up and up. Pete Carroll won a ring with Seattle, so so a lot of coaches that have won rings. So I wish Brady all the best in his contract. Congratulations, TB12, on your new contract extension, 1-year contract. I hope you retire next year, so we don't have to see your face again on the screen come next February 2022. Moving on here. So, for those Washington football fans who were desperately trying to get Cam Newton here or who wanted to see Cam Newton in a new uniform, it's not going to happen because Cam Newton is back in New England. Yes, indeed. The Patriots are already signing Newton to a 1-year contract. NFL Network's Tom Pelissero confirmed Friday for a source informed of the situation. Jim McBride of the Boston Globe first reported the news. Newton can earn up to $14 million on the deal, but it will take a lot to get there. NFL Network's Mike Garfalio reported that the pack is made up of 1.5 million in guaranteed base salary, a 2 million signing bonus, 1.5 million in per game roster bonuses, and 9 million in incentives for reaching the playoffs, making the Pro Bowl and All-Pro teams, being named MVP or Super Bowl MVP, among other things. At 5 million with 3.5 million guaranteed, Newton will make about as much as backup quarterback Chase Daniel well in Detroit this season. There's significant upside thanks to incentives. Newton is being paid as if he could eventually be the Patriots' backup. Cam played in 2020 in New England on a 1-year, $1.75 million contract with heavy incentives. The 31-year-old started 15 games, completing 65.8% of his passes for 2,657 yards with 8 TDs and 10 interceptions. His passer rating of 82.9 placed him 22nd overall among qualified quarterbacks, per NFL research. So Newton also added 592 rushing yards and 12 TDs on the ground. Newton missed one game after testing positive for COVID-19 early in the season. The quarterback said this offseason that missing that time put him behind and partially led to his struggles later in the 2020 season. Newton was last in passing yards per game, 137.1, and touchdown interception ratio among 26 quarterbacks with 10-plus starts in 2020. So, however, Newton accounted for 13 of the Patriots' 32 scrimmage touchdowns in 2020, 40.6%, the highest percentage of any player in the NFL. Next closest quarterback was Arizona's Kyler Murray with 22.4%. Cam was the number 17th pick on NFL.com's list of top 101 free agents at the time of his deal. A reunion shouldn't come as a surprise, as NFL Network's Mike Garrity noted earlier this month. Coach Bill Belichick has spoken encouragingly about Newton, and the quarterback has suggested he'd like to remain in New England. Asked last month on the I Am Athlete podcast if he would welcome a return to the Patriots, the former NFL MVP was emphatic. Now Newton won't have to change teams for at least one more season. Having a full offseason under offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels should help Newton progress in year 2 in New England. So re-signing the veteran is at least a tactic signal that the Pats believe the surrounding situation had more to do with the offensive struggles than Newton's play deteriorating. There was no getting around that the quarterback's passing must improve in 2021. At times last season, Newton missed pass, brutally throwing sneakers into the dirt, and rarely stretched the field. Those issues must be smoothed out moving forward. Now it's on the Patriots to use their significant cap space to buffer the offense with additional playmakers that will make life easier on the quarterback. Re-signing Newton to a one-year deal won't prelude Belichick from searching for a long-term solution, particularly in the draft. Ahead of the start of free agency with few palatable options to add a veteran signal caller, however, keeping Newton in New England makes sense for all parties. Now, guys, Cam Newton, former NFL MVP, most valuable player, took the Panthers to a 15-1 record, lost in the Super Bowl to the Broncos in 15, was upset that he lost the Super Bowl. He was unresponsive at his post-game interview after the Super Bowl that year. Has significant injuries with Ron Rivera, former Carolina Panther player, a coach rather, and yet he re-signs with the Panthers. I mean, with the Patriots. It's gonna take me a while to, Cam Newton re-signs with the Patriots. Now, Cam Newton took the Patriots to a 7-9 season this past season. Okay, 7-9, not bad. It could have been worse, but it wasn't bad. But the Patriots missing the playoffs for the first time in Bill Belichick's career, coaching career, I would say that's even better if you think about it. But Bill Belichick, he's one of those coaches that, after post-game interviews, he doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to anybody. He's unresponsive when asked about, how your team did, how your team played, how well your team. Did you think your team played well to win the game? And you say, well, you would ask anybody. We played well. We gotta get better. Teams Nah, man. Come on. Don't give me that, okay? You guys had a couple of good years with Tom Brady, made the playoffs, made Super Bowl, won a couple of rings. Don't act like you haven't lost anything before. See, this is what NFL coaches. I don't care if you're an NFL coach, NBA coach, a baseball coach, a hockey coach. You could be a tennis coach for all I care. But this doesn't excuse you from not talking to the media after the game about how poorly you guys did or how great you guys did. Because this is what cracks me up about coaches these days, guys. I'm telling you right now. Let me know if you guys agree with me on this. Coaches, when things go their way, when they win the golden ticket and they win all those championships, and the next year they come back and they say, "Well, you can ask anybody. We didn't play well. You saw the game. You saw the statistics. You saw the stats. Our quarterback had 3 interceptions, 0 touchdowns. He didn't play well. Got kicked out of the game. I had to bench him for a 3rd string or 4th string quarterback. I had to bench him for a punt returner. Come on, man. Really. This is why NFL coaches have a season where they struggle, and you're gonna find that. You're gonna find that in every sport. But the struggling comes when you've won the granddaddy of them all as a championship, Lombardi Trophy, and the O'Brien Trophy NBA. And the thing is, you're going to have a couple of seasons where you're not going to make the playoffs. And Bill Belichick, don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about, man, because you've experienced that when you first came into your coaching career with the Cleveland Browns. You coached the Browns in 1999, and you didn't have a good winning record, and you missed the playoffs. So, you also helped coach the Giants with Bill Parcells. So don't act like you haven't had a losing record before. Coaches think that just because they have a losing record, they don't make the playoffs. That means that their team is no good. No. Your team is the best because you won 6 rings, 7 rings. You just have sometimes you just have a bad season. If coaches were all about winning, and I'm gonna break this down for you sports fans as simply as I know how to. If coaches cared about winning all the time, do you think they'll be 18-0, 19-0, 16-0? They wouldn't do that. They wouldn't lose a game, okay? And they will be happy. They will be happy. Coaches will be happy. But coaches have a right to have a down year. Do you think the Kansas City Chiefs were saying that, okay, we're playing Bucks this year. Okay, we won the granddaddy of them all last year. We beat the 49ers. We were down. We had to come back from 10 or 5 or 15 down to defeat the 49ers. Same as this year's Super Bowl. The Chiefs couldn't stop the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers had my boy Patrick Mahomes' number. They knew the Chiefs' game plan because they played them in late November after the Thanksgiving break. So when they played in February, they knew exactly what the Chiefs' game plan was going to be. Patrick Mahomes played hurt. The Buccaneer defense got to him. So the thing is our point is this. Bill Belichick, okay, sometimes you're allowed to have 2 bad seasons. And I'm not saying that you're going to have a bad season next year. I'm just saying if Cam Newton doesn't play up to his potential, you guys aren't going to make the playoffs next year. And you guys have got to get stronger in that wide receiver. Julian Edelman is still there with you guys. I don't think Julian Edelman is a free agent. I don't think he is. But if he is, watch the football team. That's another guy you can get. But Julian Edelman, he stood with the Patriots last year. He made a decision to stay with Bill Belichick because he knew Tom Brady was leaving, and he stayed. He made a decision to stay. He could have left. He could have left and went to Tampa Bay with Tom and Gronk, but he stayed there. He stayed faithful to Bill Belichick. And when you're staying faithful to your team and to your coach for as long as Julian Edelman has, then you earn some brownie points with the coach. You earn brownie points with Croft, the owner of the Patriots. Okay, or Kraft, whatever it is. You got to make sure that you're doing the same thing with your coach, that your coach has stood by you and play the right way. And Cam, you know what I'm talking about because you played with Ron Rivera. You know Ron Rivera doesn't like to lose. Ron Rivera's a winner, likes to win, kind of like Bill Belichick. Ron Rivera, he knows how to manifest his anger with losing the game. So like, okay, well, we got to clean up some things before the next game. That's what you have to do. Don't be nonchalant and not and get into the media's face and say, "Oh, well, you saw the game. You saw what happened." We did no. That's having a bad attitude in front of the media. But I know you're upset. Coaches have to be upset. I know, but you don't take that kind of attitude with those guys. So I want to take a quick break, and when I get back, I'll discuss some more sports news. But before I take my break, guys, this NFL free agency news and this new free agency year is not going to be easy for anyone. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to take the place of anything that we haven't seen before because we have seen it. We've seen a lot of teams go down. We've seen a lot of teams make promises that they couldn't keep with their players. We saw a lot of contracts go down. So I'm going to take a break, and when I return, we're going to talk more NFL free agency news. You've been listening to Sports Talk Live here on E-Radio, WMCR/Zoom. I'll be back. Welcome back to Sports Talk Live here on E-Radio WMCR. Now, coming back to this whole NFL free agency frenzy come tomorrow, Sunday, your favorite teams are going to be dealing. They're going to be wheeling and dealing. They're going to find some top-tier players to bulk up their season, so to speak. So now we're going to get to some more news. And to get into the second half of Sports Talk Live today, I'll be talking about my good friend, my favorite player on the Washington football team, Mr. Brandon Scherff. So Brandon Scherff is a top-tier guard, was tagged as such earlier this week, and he didn't waste much time signing on the dotted line. Brandon Scherff has signed his franchise tag tender with Washington for the second year in a row. According to the league's official transaction wire, the tag will pay Scherff $18.036 million in 2021, a total that is fully guaranteed per NFL Network's Tom Pelissero. Scherff and Washington have until July 15th to strike a long-term deal if they so desire. Scherff is one of the game's best at this position, ranking fourth among all guards in the NFL in 2020 per Pro Football Focus. He played 13 games in 2020, reaching the Pro Bowl for the fourth time in his 6-year career. At 29 years old, it will make sense for Washington to strike a multi-year deal with a guard who has proven to be as effective and dependable as they come. Scherff ranked 11th on Greg Rosenthal's original top 101 free agents list and joins Carolina tackle Taylor Moton as the first to sign their franchise tag tenders. So, what am I saying here? Well, Brandon Scherff has been with the team probably since the year 2011, 2012. So Brandon Scherff, they were signing him and then re-signing him. And if this is a big contract for Brandon Scherff, he's a great defensive guy. I mean, he's just great. He's just great all around. Great guy, great player. He can block for you. He can tackle for you. He can do everything that you asked of him to do, and he'll do it. Now, he might have some injury problems along the way, but he'll come back healthier, more stronger, more healthier, more fit, and more better for your team in the next season or two. And that's been his motto since he's been with the Washington Redskins / Washington football team organization. And with Bonehead Dan Snyder, I guess that's one good thing Dan Snyder has done for this team is draft good defensive and offensive players. So that's the least that guy can do. I mean, seriously. But anyway, enough about owner Dan Snyder, whoever he is. I think that this is a good tag year for Brandon Scherff. Great guy, signing another contract extension to stay with our team. And the guy's only 29 years old. So he's still young, and he can still get after you. He can still get after the quarterback. He can block for you. He can do all of those things. So congratulations, Mr. Brandon Scherff. Looking forward to seeing you back in a Washington uniform this upcoming fall. Next up, got a little story for you guys. I'm talking about the free agent quarterbacks who Washington could possibly get in the free agency. Now, Trey Lance is up there with that team, but I'm going to discuss the upper tier quarterbacks who might decide to sign with Washington. And this is a huge might. And these players I'm about to tell you about, pick your poison with these guys. I mean, they're good, but they're not great. They're not like Pat Mahomes great. They're not Tom Brady great. They're not Peyton Manning great. They're not Drew Brees great. They're not even Phillip Rivers great. But I'm telling you, these guys might be up there with them in the next decade or so. So let's talk some free agent quarterbacks, shall we? So first on my list is Jameis Winston. Everybody knows he played with the Bucks, and now he's with the Saints. So the Saints would love to re-sign Winston to a long-term deal, but their salary cap is strangling the team down by the swampy Bayou. Winston has quietly resurrected his career, and he is fully capable of putting up massive numbers. Spending a year under the guidance of Drew Brees obviously enhances his resume, but he still needs to work on limiting the interceptions. The Washington football team could shock the football world by signing Jameis Winston. I mean, yeah, Jameis Winston, I mean, he had a good year with the Bucks, a year ago or 2 years ago. They went 7-9. He had 30 touchdowns, but he had a sloppy 31 interceptions. I mean, Jameis Winston is great and all, but you got to cut down on your interceptions to turnover ratio. I mean, turnover ratio to touchdowns, that's far from what you want to be at my friend. I don't really want to talk about Cam Newton because he already re-signed with the Patriots. Um, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Let's talk about the old. Let's talk about old man Fitzmagic. I don't know if they still call him that, but Fitzmagic. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is old, but he is not as old as Tom Brady or Drew Brees. We think that is a compliment. Fitzmagic continues to defy father time, and he has carved out a very respectable career. Various social media sources suggest that Fitzpatrick would like to continue playing. Should Washington give him the saddle and reins for a year or two? It's not the worst idea, but the powers that be in Ashburn will probably look elsewhere. So, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's another journeyman. Played with the Dolphins, Bucks, Jets, Bills, you name it. But the one good thing about him is he's always looking for victories. He's another one of those guys who can run. He can get out and run. He's like another one of those running quarterbacks. With the beard, yes, he looks old, but without the beard, he looks young. And I don't know if he's going to cut it this upcoming fall semester, or he can just going to let it fall. I think the guy should cut it. I mean, truthfully, even if he doesn't cut it all the way, his beard is like, wow, like long like that. Who wants a beard like that? Who wants a beard that long like that? But Ryan Fitzpatrick, good player. I don't know why the Jets set him down last year. They were like, 5-1, 5-2 before he was sat down for Tua Tagovailoa. So, we don't know. We don't know why he was set down for Tua, but Tua played good. Tua played well. Tua had some games last year that, he should have won. Case in point, that last game of regular season with the Jets actually could have went to the playoffs with Tua, took Viola, but it didn't happen. Prediction. So Jameis Winston shouldn't be ruled out this time, but Fitzpatrick is not a good fit in Washington. Newton would not have been a good fit at this point in time either. So, wow. So they're saying that Fitzmagic and Newton wouldn't have been good fits in Washington. They're saying that the best fit is Jameis Winston. Now, Jameis Winston is no Dwayne Haskins, no RG3. But I don't know. I'm going to keep an eye on that story and see where this takes us. The next couple of quarterbacks, you all know them. Jacoby, Mitch. Let's get to the story. Jacoby Brissett Colts. So Jacoby Brissett has a lot of potential, but he seems to be stuck in something of a yo-yo pattern. 1 year good, 1 year not so good. If Brissett wants to succeed in this league, he needs to take charge and give 100% to being a good each year. So the Washington football team is unlikely to consider signing him. And it's possible New England could bring him back with Newton as a backup. Well, that's not the question, sports fans. Now, Jacoby Brissett, he backed up Phillip Rivers. He backed up Andrew Luck when Andrew Luck was with the Colts. So he even started a year when Andrew Luck was hurt. So Jacoby Brissett is one of those third down quarterbacks, kind of like a Sean Hill when he played back up for Drew Brees, back here. So it's quite fitting that Jacoby Brissett could fit with a Washington organization, like a third down quarterback back. But it's uncanny that Jacoby Brissett is still young. And I heard the rumors that Jacoby Brissett might come to Washington. I keep hearing those rumors. The Colts and the Patriots possibly. But we're not sure what team he wants to go to or whether he would like to go to a team if that is what he really wants to do at all, or if he just wants to re-sign with the Colts, because the Colts now have Carson Wentz. So we don't know, if he's going to be brought in to back up Wentz, if Wentz is to get hurt. Frank Wright is, he reunited with Carson Wentz a couple weeks ago and Wentz signed with the Colts, so re-signing with him. So that's a good thing. Next quarterback I want to talk about, Mitch Trubisky, Chicago Bears. It's still difficult to imagine why the Bears chose Mitch Trubisky second overall in the 2017 draft. It becomes simply baffling when you consider that Patrick Mahomes was chosen 8 picks later. The former Tar Heel was on a bus right now. He has occasional streaks of solid production, but he is very inconsistent. His next stop will need be his last. A decent backup is always a good option, and at Mitch Trubisky's ceiling. So the Bears, I don't know. The Bears might have a place for Mr. Trubisky if they decide to bring him back. But I'm hearing rumors that Russell Wilson might return, or might actually pick the Bears to as his as his permanent team. Because he's trying to be a free agent for the first time in his career, and if he doesn't re-sign with Seattle, his place could be with Chicago. So that would mean Mitch Trubisky will be gone. He'll be gone, and he'll be gone on the team. And I hope Mitch Trubisky will sign with re-sign. I mean, Mitch Trubisky, he's a great quarterback, but I think Washington both have a pair of quarterbacks who might want to re-sign and take their talent somewhere else. And if Mitch Trubisky, if Washington football team decides to sign Mitch Trubisky, which a lot of people think that Washington football team is going to sign Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold has been on their radar for a few weeks or so. So we'll see how all this shapes out in the quarterback department. So Tyrod Taylor, that's my guy. I love Tyrod. The last productive season for Tyrod Taylor came in 2017. He has bounced around the league since 2011, and he has nothing more than a serviceable backup for now. First of all, I love Tyrod Taylor. That's my guy. He played with the Chargers last year. Yeah, what can I say about him? He backed up Justin Herbert last year when Justin Herbert was having an off game, and Justin Herbert was out for a week or so. This has been another bad decision out. The Chargers don't have Coach Lynn anymore. They let him go. So whoever the new coach is that's going to be taking the place in Los Angeles with the Chargers, he'll have a tough decision to make, whether he's going to keep Tyrod Taylor, sports fans, or he's just going to get rid of Tyrod Taylor. We don't know. We don't know what Tyrod Taylor is going to do. If they're going to get rid of Tyrod Taylor in free agency, if Tyrod Taylor does in fact come to the Washington football team, Tyrod Taylor, he is a fast, quick running back. He reminds me a little bit of Michael Vick type player, because he with his speed and his skill set, and don't let his speed fool you, because he can get out in the open field and he can launch that ball to those receivers. So that's a good advantage that if he comes to Washington, he will have over those defenders. So only time will tell with Tyrod there. So this prediction, the Washington football team will pass on these quarterbacks. The only one in this group who has the potential to be a quality starter is Trubisky, but that window is closing very quickly. Wow! So they're not even giving my boy Tyrod Taylor love at all, huh, sports fan? They're not even giving Tyrod Taylor any love at all. Trubisky, geez. Last thing we need is another Trubisky, because we had Kirk Cousins was here. He did give us a playoff berth, but I mean, his last 2 years weren't so good. So only time will tell. Only time will tell. So over tier. Now I want to get to the over tier quarterbacks, and we start with the Red Rifle, Mr. Andy Dalton, who played with Dallas last season. So Andy Dalton's best days are far behind him, but he did have some positive moments for the Cowboys in 2020. It was difficult for Dallas when Dak Prescott was lost to a gruesome injury. The Cowboys simply couldn't maintain the early season momentum with Dalton. He is a good backup now, and his days as a starter will be in similar situations like we saw in 2020. So, yeah, I have nothing against Andy Dalton. I think Andy Dalton played great football down the stretch for the Cowboys this year. especially the last part of December and January when the Cowboys beat the Eagles and they beat the Bengals and they beat the 49ers. And they won their last 3-4 games. And I think I think the Giants. I think they lost to the Giants. I think that was the only loss. If they went 6-10, 7-9, I forgot their record, but Dallas ended the year on a good note. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Dallas ended the year on a good note, even though Dak Prescott went down with a gruesome injury against the Giants, which to this day I still kind of cringe a little bit from seeing that on national TV. But it's okay because Andy Dalton stepped in, and the Cowboys from there lost 3, 4, 5, 6, probably 7 games until they won, until they beat the Minnesota Vikings right before Thanksgiving, right before we played them and beat them. So, it is what it is. If Andy Dalton should come to the Washington football team, which it's a long shot by now, I don't think he's going to come. I think he will be a backup behind Heineke or Allen or Steven Montez or whoever Washington picks up in free agency. It doesn't even have to be Andy Dalton. It could be someone else. If they do decide to pick up Andy Dalton, these are just predictions, sports fans. I really don't know who they're going to pick up in free agency, but these are just predictions that I lay out to you possibly every week. And now doing free agency, I have to do it now because we are in the free agency season, so I have to do it now. I would say second to last pick is Nick Mullins, 49ers quarterback. So can Nick Mullins become a reliable quarterback in this league? In 2018 and 2020, he flashed that potential. Can he find the consistency to make the next step to NFL starter? It will be interesting to see if Mullins is given a chance in the next year or two. He is a restricted free agent, but various reports claim that San Francisco will let him walk. So Nick Mullins, I don't know too much about this guy, but I do know that he is another one of those quarterbacks who can get out and run and who can throw that ball down the field and who can probably burn you with a couple of runs himself and couple of stiff arm, juke arms. I just don't think he's a good fit for Washington. I don't think he's a good fit for Washington. I don't think he's a good fit for the Washington organization. I don't think he's a good fit to even start a game for Washington. So I think that he might, be one of them teams with the Jacksonville Jaguars or the New York Jets. I think he might be one of them quarterback situations like that because he's never gonna start for anybody else. I think he's more of a backup type quarterback. He's more of a backup. So last but not least, Philip Rivers. Hold on, sports fans. So we have a couple of news here that I have to get to. Philip Rivers. So Philip Rivers is not a lower tier quarterback, but we place him here after the longtime star decided to retire. Could the Washington football team coax him out of a brief retirement for one more year or two? Ron Rivera is highly respected in the league, but it's unlikely he would be able to convince Rivers to return to the game. So now, I don't think Philip Rivers is going to return. Philip Rivers had already retired. I think he's going to coach his son's football team or basketball team. I don't know what sport he was going to coach. But if he does in fact decide to return, I do think that Rivers would be a good quarterback for the Washington football team. I do think he could come in and teach Heineke and Allen and Steven Montez and whoever else they get at quarterback as well. So that's about it. So additional thoughts. So the free agent market for quarterbacks is very thin. Only one possible option makes sense, and that's Winston. And that is somewhat iffy. It looks like it will take a trade in opening days of free agency if the Washington football team wants a quality starter. The draft is always an option. They may take a trade in the first round to acquire a franchise quarterback of the future. So yeah, that's my segment on the free agent quarterbacks. I think that you all have a good sense on what Washington might be able to do in free agency, but we don't know. I don't know how much cash they have to spend in free agency, but only time will tell. And as the months go on, we'll know exactly who the Washington football team will possibly get. So moving on here. So we're going to talk some who Washington will decide to bring back this season. Cam Stamps has always shown a tantalizing and silky skill set as an undrafted prospect out of Alabama in 2018. Sims made the Washington roster out of camp that year, partially because the Washington football team didn't have a whole lot cooking at the position. With limited opportunity, Sims did the active roster/practice squad dance over the next 2 seasons and opened up his past year as a primary special teams coverage weapon. Sims impressed the new coaching staff and slowly started his ascent towards trust and usage at the receiver spot. Now he's a key cog in a still thin group, but he showed several times in 2020 that he's on a complete flash in the pan. So Sims is a restricted free agent. Will be back in 2021 via a contract tenure. But the question is, who else will be paired with Terry McLaurin and Sims for the primary three? Make no mistake, Sims has bypassed Steven Sims Jr., while his emergence rendered Dontrelle Inman to a roster bubble type role, something that Sims dealt with. Washington is expected to add a veteran receiver in free agency. Because of Sims' emergence, the most likely pursuit will be a slot primary target with the ability to expand, allowing the Washington football team to mix and match. So Sims also worked 21.5% of his snaps out of the slot, according to ProFootballFocus.com, PFF. Sims racked up 32 catches for 137 yards in his first career score, a late touchdown, and a comeback loss against the Giants that almost helped win a critical divisional game. He also put up 110 receiving yards in another comeback loss to the Giants and 92 critical yards in a huge road upset over the Steelers. Sims was targeted a whopping 13 times in the playoff loss to the eventual champion Bucs and reeled in 7 catches for 104 yards and a 14.9 per reception average, which was the same average he maintained during the season. Drops have been an issue for Sims in the past. He had 3 last year on 46 targets, so that has to be a focus for him to take the next step. Much like Kyle Allen, who received his tenure on Wednesday as an exclusive rights free agent, there was never any questions about Sims coming back. But getting business taken care of always makes you feel better. So, sports fans, Cam Sims is coming back. Cam Sims will be a Washington football team player for the 3rd or 4th time in his career. He's been on practice squads. He's been on the team. He's played well. And Cam Sims had hit a breakout year last year. I'm not kidding, guys. Cam Sims was a beastly of a wide receiver. Cam Sims, he's pretty bulky. Cam Sims looks more like a tight end per se than a wide receiver, but it's the way he's built, I guess. The way he's built and athleticism. His athleticism is quite great. I must say, this guy, he can burn you. He can burn you if you're not careful. He can get out and burn you. And I like this pickup. I like the fact that they re-signed Cam Sims because Cam Sims has a hand that when you throw the ball to him, he can get out. He can marsh you. He'll marsh you. If you're in his way, he'll marsh you. He'll take the ball out of your hands. He'll strip it from you. That's how big, that's how strong that Cam Sims is, really. Moving on here. So we're going to talk now about Kyle Allen. He broke his leg last year with the Washington football team, and now he's back. So the Washington football team head coach Ron Rivera said on Wednesday that the team is continuing to explore all of its options at the quarterback position, and they move to formally make sure Kyle Allen is one of those options later in the day. Nikki Jahavlia of the Washington Post reports that the team has tenured Allen with a contract. As an exclusive rights free agent, Allen is not permitted to negotiate with other clubs once that tenure is in place, so his choices are to sign it or sit out. Allen is recovering from a dislocated ankle that ended his season at week 9. He started 4 games last season and went 60 for 87 with 610 yards, 4 touchdowns, and an interception. Washington also has Taylor Heinicke under contract for 2021 after releasing Alex Smith last year. So, yeah, Kyle Allen, he had a couple of games. He had a couple of games again. He had a game against the Cowboys where they just dismantled Dallas. That's the game that John Bostic hit Andy Dalton out of the game. That was week 7. That was a week 7 win against Dallas, and that was pretty good. Week 9, he left the game. He dislocated his ankle, and that was against the Giants. That's the game that Alex Smith came in for him. He actually got a concussion against the Rams in that bad weathery game. So Alex Smith had to come in for him in that game. So Alex Smith played a couple of games, and Kyle Allen. Kyle Allen just didn't stand a chance last year in Washington. So I hope this is a sign of a good year that Kyle Allen will have, because Kyle Allen, he is a great quarterback. I mean, don't let Kyle Allen fool you. He took the Panthers to 3-0 before Ron Rivera's last season in Carolina. He took the team to 5-0, and they ended with the 79 record. But they could have easily made the NFL playoffs that year with Ron Rivera in his last year. But unfortunately, they lost the games that really counted down the stretch that year, and they really couldn't get the job done. So I'm extremely happy that the Washington football team is going to re-sign Kyle Allen. Now let's get to some NBA news. Wow. As you all know, the Wizards got stomped again last night, losing to the Philadelphia 76ers. Took them to the woodshed with a 26-point thrashing, despite missing Ben Simmons for the entire game and having Joel Embiid for just 20 minutes. There's no particular surprise with the result. The team is in the midst of a brutal stretch of schedule and entered the game expected to lose. They have 2 more likely losses with the upcoming series against the Milwaukee Bucks before a winnable game against the Sacramento Kings. So here are my estimates for their current chances to win the upcoming game, sports fans. I'm just giving you my estimates here. West Milwaukee, they have a 19% chance of winning. West Milwaukee, again, they have a 24% chance of winning. West Sacramento, they have a 55% chance of winning. Against Utah, they have a 14% chance. At New York, they have a 31% chance. At New York, again, they have a 31% chance. Versus Detroit, they have a 51% chance. Versus Indiana, they have a 41% chance. Versus Chicago, they have a 36% chance. At Detroit, they have a 36% chance. So, looking at all these games, I would say the more percentages lie with the Pistons and with the Pacers. I think they have a good chance at that. They have a good chance. I think, because Utah is sitting at the top of the West. So I'm not sure that they're going to actually get a chance to beat Utah. New York is winning at a good time. Detroit is losing. Indiana, Chicago is losing. So their best chances of winning games are against Detroit, possibly against Indiana, and against the Bulls. But I don't want to rule out anything. Zach LaVine is truly a good 3-point specialist. And the Bulls have a couple of players that can shoot the 3 really well. Sacramento, they might have a problem with Sacramento as well. I would say New York. I would give them a chance in one of those New York Knicks games. I'm not sure which one it's going to be, but I'll give them a chance. But moving on. So the remainder of the season forecast, which went up during the winning streak, has stabilized around 26 to 27 wins. Being on the receiving end of a 26-point thumping dropped the overall projection by just 0.3 wins. In other words, the Wizards seem to have found their level. Last night, Russell Westbrook and Garrison Matthews played well. The rest of the team, well, not so much. Roy Hachimura, a 6'8" power forward, some have compared with Kawhi Leonard, somehow managed 0 rebounds in 21 minutes. Mo Wagner and Robin Lopez were thoroughly dominated by Joel Embiid in the Philly front court. Sixers wings were free to shoot and drive at will. Furkan Korkmaz, Danny Green, and Matisse Thybulle all had good games. So here are the 4 factors to the game that I had looked at. So below are the 4 factors that decide who wins and loses in basketball: shooting efficiency, rebounding, offensive rebounds, ball handling, turnovers, fouling, free throws made. I simplified them a bit. The factors are usually presented as percentages that's more useful over a full season. In a single game, the raw numbers in each category are easier to understand. So, for fans, I simplified this game, and here are my summaries down at the bottom. So, pace is possessions per 48 minutes. 4 factors: that you could count out between this team. EFG, the Sixers had a 0.606 percentage, while the Wizards had a 0.537. Offensive rebounds, the Sixers had 10, Washington had 6. Turnovers, Sixers had 16, Washington had 18. Free throws made, Sixers made 18, and the Wizards made 13. Pace, Sixers 102, the Wizards 99. ORTG, the Sixers had 124, and the Wizards had 99 again. So here are my player production average. So below are the player production average, the PPA results from last night's game. PPA is my overall production metric, which credits players for things they do that help a team win. Scoring, rebounding, playmaker, defending, and them for things that hurt. Missed shots, turnovers, bad defense, fouls. PPA is a per possession stat that includes accounting for defense and role. And PPA 100 is average, and the higher are better. PPA is a per possession stat. So the table below is sorted by each player's total contributions for the game. The possession is the number of possessions each player was on the floor in this game. So let's take a look. So the Wizards PPA. Let's take a look at this, guys. So the Wizards. Russell Westbrook. We're going to get to him. He had 33 minutes, 70 possessions, 148 PPA, and his percentage is a negative 24. Garrison Matthews, 22 minutes, 46 possessions, 120 PPA, negative 13%. Alex Len, 6 minutes, 13 possessions, 329 PPA, and 1 percentage. Bradley Beal, 29 minutes, 61 possessions, 62 PPA, negative 16. Roy Hachimura, 21 minutes, 45 possessions, 82 PPAs, and he had a negative 20. Cassius Winston, 6 minutes, 13 possessions, 256 PPA, 1 percentage. Raul Neto, he had 22 minutes, 46 possessions, 64 PPA, and a negative 14 percentage. Robin Lopez, 26 minutes, 56 possessions, 49 PPA, and negative 8 percentage. Mo Wagner, 15 minutes, 33 possessions, and 19 PPAs, and his percentage was a negative 19. Trey Brown Jr., 15 minutes, 33 possessions, 19, negative 64 PPA, and he had a negative 9 percentage. Davis Bertans, Isaac Bonga, Denny Avdia. So, sports fans, I'm simplifying this game as to how many minutes, possessions, and PPAs that all these players had. So, with Davis Bertans, he had 10 minutes, 22 possessions, negative 108 PPAs, and had a negative 4 percentage. Isaac Bonga, 6 minutes, 13 possessions, negative 205 PPAs, and a 1 percentage. Denny Avdia, 28 minutes, 60 possessions, negative 65 PPAs, and a negative 6 percentage. So these are all the Wizards stats from last night. These are horrible stats, ladies and gentlemen, because here's the facts. The Wizards, they got outplayed. That's simple as that. They got outplayed, they got out-hustled, and they got out-rebounded. And in the NBA against the number one team in the NBA, you cannot do that. You cannot let up against a team that you already you already lost one game. You can't let up. That's what Drew Gooden and Justin Kutcher were talking about last night after the game. You can't sleep on teams that are over you. You can't do that. You gotta try your best to win the game and get back in a playoff contention. Right now, the Wizards are still in playoff contention, but I don't know for how long they're going to be there. That's the thing. So now we look at the Sixers PPAs, and we look at how well they did. So Furkan Korkmaz, 25 minutes, 52 possessions, 300 PPA, 7 percentage. Danny Green, 31 minutes, 67 possessions, 225 PPAs, 24 percentage. Joel Embiid, 20 minutes, 23 possessions, 329 PPAs, 22 percentages. Matisse Thybulle, 22 minutes, 46 possessions, 216 PPA, at 22 percentage. Shaq Milton, 26 minutes, 56 possessions, 175 PPA, 10 percentage rating. Mike Scott, 21 minutes, 45 possessions, 170 PPA, 12 possessions. Tobias Harris, 23 minutes, 50 possessions, 108 PPAs, 19%. Seth Curry, 30 minutes, 64 possessions, 73 PPAs, 23%. Tony Bradley, 9 minutes, 20 possessions, 195 PPA, and 3%. Dwight Howard, 18 minutes, 39 possessions, 78 PPAs, and 1%. Tyrese Maxey, 6 minutes, 13 possessions, 26 PPAs, negative 1%. Terrence Ferguson, 4 minutes, 7 possessions, negative 106 PPAs, negative 6%. And Vincent Poirier, 4 minutes, 7 possessions, negative 280 PPA, negative 6%. So, these stats from Philly look a lot greater and a lot better than the Wizards. I'm just saying, these basketball players have a lot of firepower. I mean, the Sixers were even bigger than the Wizards last night in terms of getting out, spacing the floor, fast break points, offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. Dwight Howard was just getting anything in the paint. Even though he had foul trouble, he was still able to get in the paint. The former Wizard, actually. Dwight Howard played 1 year for the Wizards, and although he sat out a couple of months with his knees, I mean, I was actually hoping the Wizards would have re-signed him, but they didn't, unfortunately. So let's move on here, and I want to talk about a couple of free agencies that have new homes or who already been signed elsewhere. So the Lions head coach Dan Campbell will bring in a familiar face to show up the tight end position in Detroit. Josh Hill signed a free agent contract with the Detroit Lions on Saturday, the team announced. The terms of the deal were not disclosed. Hill, who will turn 31 in May, spent all 8 seasons of his NFL career with the New Orleans Saints. He was cut in March as part of the Saints' number of cap casualties this offseason. The do-it-all tight end has appeared in 117 career games, 61 starts, hauling in 116 balls for 1,071 yards and 15 touchdowns. However, Hill's prowess as a run blocker isn't something measured by stats. Campbell, who was the Saints tight ends coach the past 5 seasons, is well aware of the overall value Hill brings to the table. The signing of Hill comes after the Lions cut tight end Jesse James in a cap-saving move, along with his pass-catching tight end T.J. Hawkinson and Hunter Bryant. The Lions seem to be set at the position. So, wow. So, former face, former tight end coach, Dan Campbell, is now the coach of the Lions, and he brings in his old tight end, Josh Hill. Wow. So, that's what happens. Sometimes, like Ron Rivera brought his whole coaching staff to Washington, and he brought Kyle Allen to Washington. And not to mention Thomas Davis Sr., who just retired from the Washington Football Organization. So that was good. That was good that he brought in a lot of guys that were with him in Carolina, and Dan Campbell was doing the same with bringing in Josh Hill. So I'm sorry to hear about T.J. Hawkinson. I thought he was a great tight end for the Lions. I wish they could have kept him, but hey, this is how the NFL does it. Hey, if you don't play well, you get cut. So and they also cut tight end Jesse James, who you all might remember Jesse James. He played with the Pittsburgh Steelers a couple years back. Then signed with the Lions. So Jesse James, he's another one that we could possibly pick up a free agency, because Logan Thomas, he's only one guy. Logan Thomas is big, but if we can get another tight end there to help him out with the catches, I think that'll be good. And T.J. Hawkinson and Jesse James would probably fit that bill. So, other free agency news down at the bottom. The San Francisco 49ers have restructured their contract of center Weston Richburg to create $6.875 million in cap room for a player likely facing retirement, according to NFL Network insider Ian Rapoport. So the 49ers have willing to use their cap room for other players that they want to bring in and sign. So that's good. So the Atlanta Falcons have restructured the contract of tackle Jake Matthews to create $7.95 million in cap room, according to Pelissero. So, they signed Jake Matthews. So teams are now starting to, bring their salary cap room to a sort of a bystand so that they can, bring in other free agents. And I think that's good. I think that's how they should do it. The Green Bay Packers offensive lineman Billy Turner is doing a simple restructure in order for the team to clear cap space, a source tells Pelissero. Turner's restructure will be a straight salary conversion. So the Packers are doing the same. Buffalo Bills defensive end Mario Addison and defensive tackle Brandon Butler have taken less money in order to help the team's cap room. According to Rappaport, Addison will take $1.99 million less, while Butler took a pay cut of $2 million. Rappaport adds that both Addison and Butler will have incentives. So those guys are coming back to Buffalo. Buffalo is another team that could have won in the AFC Championship game. More so the Packers. The Packers could easily beat the Buccaneers in the NFC Championship game. So you got last two teams that did make the championship game, but they just couldn't get it done. So best of luck to you guys this upcoming season. I do think the Packers and the Bills will both be back in the playoff this next season, 2022. So, guys, there's a heartfelt story that I want to talk to you guys about, and that's about Dak Prescott. So, Dak Prescott looked for inspiration on his way back from 2 ankle surgeries. He found it in a former NFC East rival, Alex Smith. So said the quarterback after signing a new 4-year, $160 million contract in Dallas. Smith's incredible journey back to football, countless procedures, crushing setbacks, and hard rehab set against an uncertain future pushed his Cowboys counterpart through his own trying recovery process. Smith, who was released by Washington last week, set the standard for preservatives during his 2020 AP Comeback Player of the Year award-winning season. The veteran underwent 17 surgeries over a nearly 2-year span before returning to the game. Prescott's recovery looks speedy by comparison. If he returns by week 1, as he hoped, he'll have been sidelined for at least less than a full year. The Cowboys quarterback never had to question whether his injury was a career-ending one like Smith did. Still, he must have experienced his own share of tough and draining days during rehab. That's when Prescott turned the author of the league's most improbable comeback story in quite some time. Like Smith, Prescott found new reserves of hope and strength to forge his own path back to the game. So that's great. That's great. That's great, Dak. Dak Prescott, great guy. I love to see him play in a Dallas uniform. Dallas is not my favorite team, but I love to see Dak Prescott play. And Dak Prescott, I'm still wishing you a speedy recovery, brother, so that you can get back to playing the game that you love. And I totally agree. Alex Smith is inspiration to all NFL quarterbacks who have dealt with the same injury that he has dealt with. And I'm sure you can attest to that yourself. So that's a very, very good, heart-wrenching story there. So as I end the show today, I want to talk about some free agents who you might not want to sign for your teams. And as in life, nothing in free agency is guaranteed. Some free agents are relatively safe bets, players who are pretty much a lock to a form as advertised. This is not an exploration of those players. Rather, the list of below consists of 10 of the biggest boom or bust propositions set to be on the market. Let's take a look at number 1. These 10 players carry sky-high potential and the risk that they could fall far short of expectations. For all of them, I've sketched out what will happen if they boom and what will happen if they bust. I've also picked a team that is ideally situated to take the risk of signing each guy. So, quick note, ages listed reflect how old each player will be at the beginning of the 2020 and 2021 NFL season on September 9th. So here are my picks below. Patrick Peterson, Arizona Cardinals quarterback, and he is 31 years of age. So here's the boom scenario. Peterson consistently provides the same type of sticky man-to-man coverage that enabled him to hold Seahawks receiver DK Metcalf to 1 catch for 6 yards on 4 targets per next-gen stats in Arizona's Week 7 overtime win over Seattle. Metcalf finished the game with 2 total catches for 23 yards. Here's the bust scenario. In his 11th NFL season, Peterson's speed drops to the point that he becomes a liability rather than an asset when matched against the other team's wide receiver 1. Who should take the risk? Well, the San Francisco 49ers could. With 4 cornerbacks and Richard Sherman, Jason Verrett, Keywan Williams, Ahkello Witherspoon headed for a free agency, San Francisco will need fresh blood in the secondary, as the Niners did with Sherman when he left Seattle. They can still get good football and veteran leadership out of Peterson, who will surely enjoy having 2 chances per year to stick it to the Cardinals, should Arizona decide not to shell out dough to keep him. So yeah, Patrick Peterson, a journeyman, only played on one team his whole career. That's the Arizona Cardinals. He's 31 years of age, and yeah, I mean, I feel like he still has some left in the tank. So even if the Cardinals don't re-sign him, he'll probably sign to a team that is really in need of a cornerback right now. And the San Francisco 49ers looks like they'll be in need of some cornerbacks with the departures of Sherman and Williams and Witherspoon. So and Jason Verrett. So I mean, they could possibly be looking for a whole new set of cornerbacks, and Patrick Peterson might fit that bill as well. But only time will tell. These are just rumors. Nothing is factual. Nothing has been set in stone yet. My next player, Leonard Fournette, running back, age 26, and he also won a championship with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. The boom scenario. Fournette picks up right where he left off in the playoffs, 448 yards from scrimmage and 4 total touchdowns in 4 postseason games, further reestablishing himself as a premier NFL running back after resurrecting his career with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Here's the bust scenario. That super productive stretch aside, Fournette fails to learn from the mistakes that brought his time with the Jaguars to a messy end. Playoff Lenny disappears like a mirage. And who should take the risk? Well, the Atlanta Falcons might take the risk in landing him. So Arthur Smith landed Atlanta's head coaching job largely because of the success he had as the offensive coordinator in Tennessee, where he funded his attack through running back Derrick Henry. Fournette has the skills to fill a Henry-like role and is even better than Henry as a receiver out of the backfield. The Falcons face major cap issues, but there might not be a huge market for Fournette and a gutted position group that also includes free agents Kenyon Drake, Chris Carson, and Ronald Mack. So, yeah, I mean, I would say that Leonard Fournette can still run. He's only 26 years of age. I'm actually older than Leonard Fournette. I'm actually older than most of these young guys here in the NFL. But he will bring Super Bowl experience to the Falcons, which the Falcons have had a Super Bowl meltdown. I don't even want to bring that back up. How your team be up 28-3 and you lose the game? Come on, man. I still don't get it. But he can help out a scenario that if Matt Ryan were to re-sign with the Falcons, he can actually help that offense run and go. So we'll see. See what happens. Leonard Fournette's best plays from a 135-yard game against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That was he had a 135-yard scrimmage game. That was great. Next up is Chris Carson, running back, age 26, another player who I'm older than. So the boom scenario. Chris Carson rebounds from his subpar injury-hampered 2020 season, regaining the form that made him one of the NFL's most productive running backs with the Seahawks in 2018 and 19, when he recorded 2,381 rushing yards, 5th most in the NFL in that span, and 16 rushing touchdowns. So the best scenario. The injury issues that have kept him from starting all 16 games in any of his 4 pro seasons thus far continue to get in his way. He's also likely to have trouble if he ends up on a team with an offensive line that struggles in run blocking. Who should take the risk? So my pick is the Miami Dolphins. At 5'11" and 220 pounds, Carson is better suited to fill the role of power back that Jordan Howard was ticketed for before being released by Miami last November. And Carson could be especially effective in a rotation with Salvon Ahmed and Myles Gaskin. Carson, who doesn't turn 27 until September 16th. Oh, wow. So him and I, we share the same birthday. Showed the Dolphins firsthand what he's capable of in Week 4. Last season, when he rushed for 2 touchdowns and produced 100 yards from scrimmage, and the Seahawks win. So another running back, sports fans, Chris Carson, great run blocking, great receiver out of the backfield with Russell Wilson, and you can see how much he's run. I mean, beast mode. Marshawn Lynch, they call him the Skittles man. He likes to eat Skittles before every game, and he gave him a lot of love talking to. I was like, hey man, you want to be the best, you gotta go out there, you gotta prove it to people that you can be the best and that you can run and that you can break tackles. When time is called for. So sports fans, if you think any of these free agents should sign with different teams, you can comment down below and you can let me know who you would like to see rather on your favorite team or another team this upcoming fall. So our next man is Will Fuller. He's a wide receiver and he's age 27, just like me. So for this one, the boom scenario, Fuller shows that when healthy, he is one of the NFL's most dangerous wide receivers, especially in a vertical passing game. The bust scenario, injuries once again get the best of a player who has missed 25 games over the past 4 seasons with the Texans. And who should take the risk? The Washington football team. We'll see. He might be a good fit. Washington might not have a quarterback yet, but pairing Fuller with Terry McLaurin would give that person a lethal 1-2 punch to work with. Well, yeah, I mean, if Will Fuller comes here, then of course him and Terry McLaurin, they'll be like the top duo. Out in Arizona, you got Hopkins and Fitzgerald. Here in DC, you'll have Fuller and McLaurin. Out in Dallas, you got Cooper. You got those other receivers out there that I can't even think about right now. But as far as this goes, I'm pretty sure the Washington football team, if they think that Fuller is a great receiver, they'll reach out to him and they'll bring him to camp virtual and they'll have a talk with him. That's for sure. So wow, I can't believe this guy's a free agent, sports fans. Next guy is Juju Smith-Schuster, and he's age 24, and I'm way older than this guy. So the boom scenario, Smith-Schuster, who is still just 24, makes everyone forget about his underwhelming last 2 seasons with the Steelers, looking more like a player who became the youngest in NFL history to hit the 2,500-yard receiving mark early in 2019. The bust scenario, he signed somewhere with the exception of producing like a number 1 receiver or plays like a number 2, reenacting what happened when he was asked to step up after Antonio Brown's exit from Pittsburgh 2 seasons ago. So who will take the risk? Well, the New England Patriots might take it. Some might wonder if a player who made a habit out of posting TikTok videos of himself dancing on opponents' logos will be a good culture fit with Bill Belichick's Patriots. This team desperately needs the kind of help at receiver that Smith-Schuster could immediately provide. Smith-Schuster, he's one of those great wide receivers, one of those fast wide receivers that a team would love to have him on their team, especially the New England Patriots, because, N'Keal Harry, I don't know about him. I don't know his free agency situation. I certainly don't know about Julian Edelman's free agency status. So, getting Smith-Schuster or another wide receiver could be very great for a Patriots team that's especially trying to get back in the playoffs next year. So that'll be a good fit for him. Or send him to Washington. We don't have to get Will Fuller. We can exchange Smith-Schuster for Will Fuller, bring Will Fuller to New England instead of Schuster. Trey Hendrickson, defensive end, and he's only age 26. So the boom scenario, Hendrickson continues to build upon his stunning 4th-year breakout, at which he logged 15 starts and 13.5 sacks, eclipsing his previous highs in both categories. 3 starts, 4.5 sacks by a wide margin. The bust scenario, isolated from circumstances that helped him thrive in 2020, Hendrickson struggles to replicate his 2020 success, suggesting his production last season had more to do with the surrounding talent on New Orleans' top 4 defense. specifically from playing the opposite one of the NFL's top defensive ends, Cameron Jordan. So, who should take the risk? Well, there you have it. Las Vegas Raiders might take the risk. The defense that finished 29th in the NFL in sacks last season could use some serious pass rushing help. New defensive coordinator Gus Bradley plans Hendrickson opposite Max Crosby, casting them as the cornerstones of what he wants to build up front. So, Hendrickson is another defensive end to look over and see if he fits your team's planning scheme. If he doesn't, well, you got to go back to the drawing board and get things done again. So Yannick Ngakoue, defensive end, age 26. The boom scenario. Ngakoue, who doesn't turn 26 until later this month, brings the same kind of pressure that helped him record at least 8 sacks and double-digit quarterback hits in each of his first 5 NFL seasons. The bust scenario. Asked to do too much against the run, but he is sometimes overmatched at 6'2" and 246 pounds. He struggles, and those issues outweigh his pass rush production. And who'd take this risk? So the Cleveland Browns is going to take it. So Cleveland reportedly tried to land Ngakoue last year when he was traded from the Jaguars to the Vikings. Signing him away from Baltimore would hurt an AFC North rival and provide a complementary pass rushing force opposite Myles Garrett, with Olivier Vernon, who served that role in 2020, headed for free agency himself. Yannick Ngakoue strip sacks his former quarterback for Ravens turnover. And that was a highlight from last year with him, possibly leaving the Browns. And I can't see him leaving the Browns, but not to mention the Browns still have Myles Garrett and Olivier Vernon, who can pick up the slack if he gets traded. So let's hope this doesn't come out to be a trade position for him. And last but not least, Dalvin Tomlinson, NT, age 27. The boom scenario. Tomlinson continues to provide the same steady play that resulted in 2 consecutive seasons of 49 tackles and 3.5 sacks. The bust scenario. He is signed by a team that wants him to be a disruptive pass rusher, but that kind of transformation probably isn't in the cards for the run-stifling behemoth, and he falls short of expectations. So who should take the risk? The Jacksonville Jaguars. Wow. They need it. They only won 1 game last year. They need all the help they can get in this draft. So although Tomlinson doesn't have the potential to affect opposing quarterbacks in the same way that pending free agent Larry Okukombo does, he is more consistent overall and will instantly upgrade a Jaguars defense crying out for interior help after ranking 30th against the run in 2020. So Marlon Mack. You get to Marlon Mack for the Indianapolis Colts, running back who is 25 years of age. So the boom scenario fully recovered from the torn Achilles that ruined his 2020 season. Mack showcases the form that led him to rush for 1,999 yards and 17 touchdowns in 2018-19. The bust scenario. Mack becomes another unfortunate example of a young running back derailed by serious injuries. So who should take the risk? So the New York Jets are going to bite the bullet and take it. So Frank Gore, who led the team in rushing at 37 years old last season, is gone. He's basically gone. He left the team. And there's no certain replacement waiting in the wings. If the Jets trade Sam Darnold and draft a new quarterback at number 2 overall, acquiring Mack to lead a strong running game would go a long way toward giving the new rookie signal caller a chance to find his sea legs. Then we have Corey Linsley. He's a center, and he's age 30, so he's kind of like a veteran. So the boom scenario. After 7 years with the Packers, the All-Pro center picks up where he left off last season, serving as a stabilizing veteran force up front. The bust scenario. The risk here is relatively low, but Linsley did lose time with a knee injury last season and is entering his age 30 season. I don't personally think that this will provide proof to be the case, but it's conceivable that he begins a decline phase of his career next season. which will represent a disappointment for whichever team pays the top dollar to land them. So who's the lucky team that's going to get them? Who should take the risk? The Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow. Trey Hopkins could shift to the right guard where he started 12 times in 17 to make room for one of the NFL's great centers, giving the Bengals another venue for beefing up Joe Burrow's protection, in addition to the 5th overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft. So, the Bengals might pick him up. Someone else might pick him up. These are just NFL free agency news, guys, that I'm going to bring you as we get closer to the NFL draft and to NFL free agency again. So make sure that you keep posted, keep yourself posted to NFL Network, NFL.com, ESPN, because they'll have every news site available for your free agency news. And with that, that is my show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to say thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and thank you for always being a listening participant for the Sports Talk Live radio show here on Zoom. I truly appreciate it. As always, I'm Brandon Buckner. This has been Sports Talk Live. I'll have some guests on my show next week for the spring break show. So I'll see you all then. And you guys take it easy and have a great weekend. And that is it. Peace.